environment. I think we're looking at a lot of challenges budgetarily, but certainly everyone should add their voices to the legislature. I would anticipate that this is going to move through the House and Senate pretty easily, and the real question will be where it falls when they discuss the new budget. So, any questions about the legislative update? That is the only bill that this commission is involved in testifying on or backing. There's certainly a lot of bills that impact various other aspects of Secretary of State, but that is the one that impacts this work, because I just for all of our guests, we have no appropriation. So everything we're doing very frugally and resourcefully, with the exception of our paid project director, and that being Sarah Hansen, which we're glad that the last legislature funded. So any questions about that?
Yeah, Richard's got his hand up, Jenna.
Oh, go ahead, Richard. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought I saw in the hopper a specialty commemorative plate that's on the table.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
Just real quick, two parts. Can you describe that maybe to us if we have a conceptual idea? And then second, is there a funding implication maybe for the group as to if that's an inflow for us or if it's just going someplace else?
Yeah, so that was a bill introduced by Representative Nathan Carlo, and I will say the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, which I also had some deep concerns about it, because the current processes of ordering a new plate are just very expensive and sometimes prohibitively so. And so the Dirigo plate did not realize there were certainly revenues, but there were also hidden costs for the department in that. So I am not sure if that plate, let me rephrase. We had concerns about it. We voiced those concerns from the perspective of the BMV. We would prefer the just true appropriation piece because it's actual real funds. And the way the bill was structured, we did say that if it were to move forward, we'd like it to come to this commission. But the way the bill itself was originally structured, the money would not actually come to the commission. I think if the committee moves it forward, they will direct the money to the commission. I would be surprised if the bill were to move forward.
So I guess, so the testimony's come and gone.
Yeah, if you can pull it up. So the hearing was, I believe it was 2 weeks ago. Sarah, do you remember?
Yeah, I think that's right.
It's like a year. And I could pull that up and be more explicit from our testimony.
No, that's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Libby's got her hand up too, Shanna.
Yeah, go ahead, Libby.
Shanna, on the potential appropriation, timeline wise, if it's particularly $250,000, which would be amazing to disperse to local communities, if that were to become a reality in some way, shape, or form, when do you think the earliest moment that would become a reality would be?
It would likely be 90 days after adjournment.
Okay.
Which would likely be first week in September.
Okay, so that would have to be money spent incredibly quickly, but we would know before September that it was available, so a grant process could happen before that.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And the archives does have mechanisms for dispersing local grants, and we talked about that with the committee. We've done with the Archives Advisory Board, or no, actually the Maine Historical Records Advisory Board. Let me make sure I'm getting my boards correctly. The Maine Historical Records Advisory Board has a small grants program for local historical and collecting organizations, and has dispersed some grants. And Representative Greenwood was familiar with that. Monmouth had received a small grant. And so that was something that was really comfortable with him, and he could attest to the rest of the committee that it seemed like a smooth process. So
that was such a great part of the Bicentennial Commission's work, and the disbursement of that grant, just speaking for like smaller museums and libraries, like it was really an important part of our ability to do that work. So it's great to know that it potentially could happen again.
That's our hope. But I do think people will need to reach out to the Appropriations Committee. I will certainly give it the full court press, which I did with the State and Local Government Committee. But anyone who wants to bend the Appropriations Committee's ear and just highlight the importance of a moment of unity in a time of a lot of division, right? This is an opportunity for us to come together at community levels in different commemorative activities that remind us that at the end of the day, all of us here are Americans and yeah, help us value history, all of our history, our complex, really interesting history. So, any other
Thanks, Jenna.
legislative questions?
I just wanted to say too, there was that other bill about the mobile unit that I think
Oh,
we
it
discussed at a-
died. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. I think we discussed that at a previous commission meeting of them, and so that's off the table.
Senator Baldacci had a lovely idea of funding a mobile unit, so an America 250 RV essentially to go around to communities to do commemorative education work with, especially with schools and with communities. And we researched the costs associated with that. Christian was familiar with a project in Virginia that was similar. At the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, we're actually literally working right now on the BMV in an RV concept to bring a mobile Bureau of Motor Vehicles to communities like Richards in counties that don't have a BMV. But I think the fiscal note scared the committee, and so they voted unanimously, except for perhaps one person, against the idea just because of the funding environment. So they decided to go with a big clean appropriation instead.
There are a couple of bills. There's a bill through Agriculture and Forestry, and then there's a bond request bill for state historic sites. Not directly relevant to this committee for the most part, but Cassine is lobbying hard because Fort George, which is the state's major Revolutionary War, one of the state's major Revolutionary War sites, is in desperate need of, well, very much delayed maintenance. So both of those, again, one of them is, I don't know what it's technically called, but it's like if there's leftover money, we'd go in the queue for leftover money bills. And then one of them would be a bond for maintenance, upkeep, and interpretation of and promotion of state historic sites.
Would you like the commission to take a position on that and submit testimony, or are you just trying to raise it so that all of the?
Yeah, just to raise it so that everybody's aware that that's out there.
Sure.
And if you personally or your community or something has an interest in supporting that, I know that the commission decided not to do so on the historic preservation bond, so I expect this one to be similar, that's not necessarily this commission's job, but I think of interest to folks that it's also the Benedict Arnold site is a state historic site also, I think. So it's a couple of Revolutionary War
The
sites.
hearing for that bond is tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, yeah.
Okay, so if everybody online heard that, tomorrow at 1 is a hearing on the bond for historic sites, and
It'll be 762
Is that in education?
That's an appropriation.
appropriations.
and if you can't make the hearing at 1 tomorrow, either on Zoom, it is hybrid, you can appear on Zoom, or you can appear in person, and if you can't make it either on Zoom or in person, you can certainly submit a statement of support in the form of written testimony. Great. Okay, so our next item is event updates, and I'm gonna take A and C and I see Sarah's back with us. Sarah, do you want to actually walk us through the event updates? Are you in a place where you have connectivity?
Yes, sorry, I had to move because of the sun, which probably sounds mean. 'Cause I know my mother sent me a picture of her yard full of snow this morning, and I was like,
Yeah. So Maine Calling, we're really excited about this, but Sarah, walk us through the description of what we've got planned.
Sure, absolutely. So Maine Calling, we're going to be on Wednesday, April 16th at 11 a.m. Shenna is going to call in, and I know that Tiffany Link from Maine Historical Society is joining, and I believe Jonathan Bratton. And the whole show is going to be about Paul Revere's ride and the start of the American Revolution. And so we were really excited. We had kind of pitched the idea and got a no, and then they changed their mind. So we're delighted to be on Maine Calling. So everybody tune in on the 16th, and feel free to call in.
Yeah, you can all call in and talk about your projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know we're going to talk about Two Lights in a second, but yeah, there's a lot going on. So, and then in terms of the Governor's Conference on Tourism, that's just mostly an FYI for everybody. I will be there in Bangor. I know Abby will be there as well. And we've got the Semi-Quincentennial Commission has a table, so we will be tabling, talking with people about the commission's work. And we're also going to kick off that Maine Atlas project to announce that we're going to be accepting nominations from the public for that, and people will be able to scan a QR code and submit their nominations. So we're kind of soft launching it at that, and then we'll do a big public push after that to make sure all the kinks are worked out. So I think that will be a really great event. And then of course, Two Lights for Tomorrow is our big kickoff on Friday, April 18th. And we're starting in the morning at 11:30 with a press conference with Shenna, and we've got I'm going to probably mispronounce her name, but Yashaswinda Durasali, who's the Youth Poet Laureate from Portland. She's going to be reading excerpts from Paul Revere's Ride, which should be super cool. And then at 7:30 p.m. we are getting 2 Maine DOT floodlights, and we are lighting up the Capitol at 7:30 on the dot. So, and I know that there has been in your upcoming dates of interest document in the agenda packet, there's a list of events that we know of so far. We just found out yesterday that there's going to be another one in Winterport. So they're happening all across the state, which is super exciting. And of course, all across the country, even Hawaii is doing something. So it's a really, I think it's a really fantastic thing to be a part of. And some states like Arizona are doing like flyovers and a concert and all kinds of crazy stuff. But
Sarah, why don't you, okay, great,
Yep.
perfect.
Yep, I got it.
So I just want to invite everyone, commission members and guests. So if you would like to be there, at either or both the events at the 11:30 press conference, would love to, have everyone be recognized as a commission member. So please, join us for that if you are free. And guests, certainly please, come and join us. I, this morning or this afternoon rather, sent an invitation to all commissioners across state government, as well as the legislature. So we've already received one query from a legislator, which prompted us to send the universal invitation to all legislators. So we anticipate that there'll be some legislators there. Of course, the legislature is not in on Fridays, but some committees will be meeting, and then other legislators are because they're passionate about it. So would love to have you. And we've also issued an invitation to the governor's office. I don't know that she'll be available, but we want to make it an option if she's interested in joining us for that kickoff. And then for all the communities out there, because we really do have some great geographic representation among our guests and among our commission members. If there are any communities that are doing a Two Light celebration and want to share that back with Sarah, when we do the press release for the press, we want to, so we'll do a media advisory in advance of the event, and then we'll do a press release the day of, and we would love to include all of the events that we know about. And so if you know that your town is including an event, please let us know. We sent a message about the event to all of the municipal clerks, the town clerks, because they're the entities that we interact with on a regular basis. And we sent a similar message to all of the schools, but that does in fact coincide with most schools are off that day. So I don't think any schools are going to be doing anything. We got back several kind queries, but skeptical responses, but we can't change the date of Paul Revere's Ride. So that is what that is. But certainly apprise them of what was coming up. So
Yeah, I just want to.
Yeah,
I just want to add super quickly that so we also now have social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram, and so we've been. If you are planning an event or if you know someone planning an event, please email me and let me know, and we'll try and push all of that stuff out on social media as well. And also our friends in Virginia, Virginia 250, who are really kind of masterminding this whole thing, have a website, and they are putting every event that they know of on the website. And so I've sent all of the listings from Maine, so they'll be live, and we'll share that as well. So if you're looking for something to do a little closer to home, if you're not in Augusta, there's some great stuff happening.
There's some really exciting things happening, yeah, from Portland to Presque Isle. There are opportunities. Great. Next is our report outs. So Sarah, if you want to report out on 250 Con and A Common Cause to All, and anyone else who participated in any of those, please weigh in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm gonna pick the 250 Con to Julia, because she very kindly suggested we add this to the agenda. Julia and I were the stalwart reps from Maine at the Association of State and Local Histories 250 Con back in February. So Julia, if you don't mind, I'll let you, because you had some great comments about things that you learned. So
Yeah, sure. So 250 Con was a 2-afternoon virtual program by the American Association for State and Local History in terms of updating what was happening around the semi-quincentennial. It was led off by a keynote by Lonnie Bunch from the Smithsonian, Carla Hayden from the National Archives, and kind of talking about doing history in these times and what that's going to look like. That was before executive orders, but it was interesting. I think it was perhaps to me the most interesting and inspiring was they did what they called lightning rounds, and they brought in folks from national initiatives that are happening in a lot of creative ways that are connected to the 250th. That surprised me and gave me ideas, and now Castine is launching one of these. It is becoming part of one of these initiatives, and the Wilson Museum is becoming part of another one that just hadn't occurred to me. And so I just wanted to really quickly, just for folks to know, and then feel free to follow up with me if you're interested in more information. But it included a new resource for teachers and students from Colonial Williamsburg called history.org, which sounds outstanding, really driven by teacher-driven instead of museum people-driven. The ongoing work of Made by Us, which is a nonprofit oriented towards engaging young people, and by which they mean like Gen Z through Gen Alpha in history and civics, and they have a Youth 250, which has Youth 250 ambassadors, and there is one in Maine who we met. The New Hampshire one during one of the group things at 250 Con. So there's the work that Made by Us is doing. National History Day and their work are now questionably funded. Wiki Education is doing a 250 by 2026 project to get 250 new wiki pages on that are relevant. I didn't pay much attention to that one, sorry, but you can look it up. Clio, which is a free app for like walking tours, tour app, historic location app, talk about the work they're doing. Handwork 2026 is an initiative of Craft in America, which is looking at the central role of craft in the American story and art in the work of artisans and so on. And Handwork 26 is one that the Wilson Museum, with one of our new programs, our artisan market, is going to be hopefully tagging on to that. And they have a big listing of participants. And as of when I spoke to the team from there, they really hadn't considered history organizations as part of this, and they were excited to, after ASLH, just be getting outreach from history organizations to talk about handworks and craft and so on. So that was exciting. Right as of now, it was just Haystack School in Deer Isle was the only main organization that was listed in their participants list. So that was really cool. PBS Learning Media, Ken Burns is doing a film about it, and there'll be a bunch of learning materials for K-12 education associated with that. ASLH talked about their field guide and program guide, which I'm not familiar. Those are a great resource. The National Constitution Center talked about their interactive Declaration of Independence learning tool. The Museum and Center for Service, which is a new project in Washington, D.C. and nationwide, is doing it. This is the one that Castine is going to tag onto. They're doing a nationwide 250 and beyond, where they've created this amazing toolkit to create a community museum of service, where you can honor the people in your community who do service, and service by being like, out of the kindness of your heart for the common good kind of thing. And doing it as a really expansive community engagement thing to honor that kind of core American value of service, which seems really, Castine is tagging onto that because it seems really generative and collaborative, and like get the idea is that it gets communities inspired, it gets young people inspired to be civically engaged, to become volunteers and that sort of thing. And then I think two more, but one of them was 2 Lights for Tomorrow, which I talked about, and then National Park Service is doing pension transcription project for Revolutionary War veterans. So there's a citizen archivist, citizen, whatever you want to call it, project to transcribe all of the lovely handwritten documents around the pensions for Revolutionary War veterans at the National Park Service. So it was neat to just like that just broaden, I mean, I've been working on this for a while, and that really broadened my ideas of what you could do that was tied into the 250th. It wasn't just like straight up, this happened in the American Revolution kind of thing. So anyway, it was neat. And again, I'm happy if any of those things kind of piqued your interest, feel free to reach out and I can give you more information.
Julie, do you think you could type those up for an email that Sarah could send to the commission
Good call.
members plus interested parties?
Yeah,
Because I think it speaks to, you know, how the Two Lights piece came about, right? That was a national idea that Sarah brought back to the commission and we all thought, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so we're doing it. And I think that we don't have to wait to do just things that are planned, that we plan. I
Yeah.
think, serving to amplify, like, I'm just blown away by how many guests we've had and what people are doing across the state. And if this commission can, you know, bring a spotlight on what's already happening and create some unifying themes and,
Yeah.
you know, help promote, you know, cross-pollinate, I think it's great.
yeah, yeah.
So, Sarah, is there anything that you wanted to add from your participation in 250Con? And that was a pretty extensive and awesome list.
Yeah, no, I think Julia nailed it. And we heard, I know the next thing is to talk a little bit about, just quickly, the Common Cause to All, which was in Colonial Williamsburg, not last week, the week before, which was fantastic. And we heard, you know, again, from some of our friends at Association of State and Local History, made by us, made a huge presentation, which the work that they're doing with youth is really fantastic. And we're so lucky in Maine to have someone from USM sitting on that council. So there's a lot of really wonderful creativity happening. And it's really exciting to be a part of. So thank you for that, Julia. That was awesome.
Yeah, I realized we didn't put it on as a report out, but I think it happened after our last meeting. So the British consulate in Boston invited all of the chairs of the 250 commissions from the various states and then some other folks from the greater Boston area in New England to come to the consulate to do a tea, and which was pretty hilarious, thinking about the British Tea Party in Boston Harbor. So they put on a little bit of a spread with some colonial type hors d'oeuvres and a colonial type whiskey drink, and I had it without the whiskey since I had to drive back that night. But and they had some musicians play some colonial songs. He gave some nice remarks. He's very passionate about history. And this is I think his title is Consular General. And he's willing to come to Maine. So if there are events where, and I teased him about maybe coming to Margaretta Days. And so, but if there are other, you know, if there are events that it would be appropriate to invite a representative from the British government and you want me to connect you or just get you contact information, they were really excited, or he seems really excited to really embrace the history and the opportunity over the next year. And has a good sense of humor. I don't think I was the only one teasing him about, you know, the Tea Party. Right. All right, so moving on to our website. So the Secretary of State, just as a whole department, finally on Monday, and this was gargantuan because it took many, many months, because our website, given the size of your motor vehicles, breadth of agencies we do, including corporations and elections and archives, is so large. We moved our website to a new platform, and basically moved it out of hard coding to Drupal, so any of our employees who are trained can start updating the website. And I think that gives Sarah a lot more flexibility in terms of adding things very currently to the website and updating things with upcoming events that our municipalities or historic partners, museums and whatnot might be doing. But Sarah, do you want to take away this portion of the agenda?
I'd love to. Yes, this has been such a long time coming and I'm so happy happy that we finally have our own little page, well, a couple pages. So I'm gonna quickly share my screen and just run you all through this so you can see. Okay, hopefully that you guys can all see that. If not, just holler.
Gov, yeah. That's just-
Yep, perfect.
Oh,
Okay.
but you can see right on our homepage is this.
Perfect. So, yeah, so this is the Secretary of State's new landing page. So we are featured front and center there, which is really exciting. So all you have to do is click that. So you can see our new URL up at the top, and we'll be sharing this widely. Like Shanna mentioned, this only went live last night. So there are a few kinks, there are a few broken links that we've been made aware of. And so we're in the process of getting all those fixed. But I just wanted to quickly sort of show you what we're sharing with the public. So again, you know, we've got this just a little brief summary about what the commission is, when it was founded. On the right-hand side is our navigation bar. So you can see we've got, I asked all of you, and Libby and Beth, I will be getting bios from you too. So we have here just a click down menu so you can see everyone's who's serving on the commission and their bios, which is great. We have all the information about our upcoming commission meetings. And then all of our previous meeting minutes will be here as well. So after today, we will get February up. So that's all there. When we get the main Atlas program up and running, this is where we're going to have all the information about that. On the events page, you'll see already we have the Two Lights for Tomorrow information, and hopefully I can update this easily. I have not been trained yet, but as soon as I am, we'll be updating this with everybody else's information on here too. And right now you can see we're also sharing about the upcoming Jane's Walk events, which we are supporting there. And then we've got a resources page. So we've organized this by national resources and then more state and local, or state and regional. And this is, again, something in progress. So if you feel like there's a resource that we should be sharing that's not on here yet, please do let me know. And then just the contact us page, pretty simple. It's my contact information, and then it has our social media links. And as a reminder too, our YouTube channel, all of these meetings are recorded and posted there. So you can rewatch them to your heart's content. If you so choose. So that's just a brief run through of the website, but like I said, this is brand new, and we will be adding to it as we can. So really, really excited to have this done. Stop sharing so I can see people.
Yeah, and I think the most exciting aspect of that website is the ease of, once Sarah's trained, the ease of being able to update it.
Yeah.
Without having to go through hoops or bureaucracy or other people. It's also mobile friendly. So
Yeah.
the 40+% of people that are accessing the state website via their mobile phones will be able
Like
to.
me sitting here looking at it.
Yes. Our old website was not mobile friendly. And there were like 2 people in the department who could code it to change it. Great. So let's talk, item number 8 is one the executive committee of the commission thought that it was important to have a conversation about. And I think this is an ongoing conversation and probably will be a conversation over the next 18 months. We wanted to let folks know that there is an executive order. It was called Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. And Sarah circulated that in the packet. And just wanted to chat through, our relationship and our connection with the national stage, what that might look like. I think, one of the easy parts of the conversation are when there are national events like Two Lights for Tomorrow, which lots of states are doing, and doesn't bring with it any, well, I suppose there are politics associated with every aspect of history in the best possible way. But is an event that is not fraught with some of the polarization of modern politics. Those are easy points of connection. Sometimes there may be more challenging points of connection. Sarah, I don't know if you want to expand on this to just represent, or any other executive committee. Marcia is not with us today, neither is Greg. So Sarah or Julia, if either of you want to chat about, the conversation we had at the XCOM.
Yeah, I'm happy to chime in just a little bit and just remind everyone too a little bit about where we currently fall in terms of the national stage. There is America 250, which is an independent nonprofit that is sort of coordinating things on the national level. There's no funding, there's no nothing like that coming from them, but they are, coordinating some gatherings of statewide commissions and have some of the major initiatives like the America's Field Trip that we've shared before and things like that. And then there is a new Task Force 250, which was created by an executive order. There is a staff person associated with that now, a young woman named Brittany. She was at A Common Cause to All and introduced herself very briefly and has since been reaching out to states. It's unclear what the goals of Task Force 250 are and how that's going to be impacting us or any other states or the work of America 250. It's all a little up in the air and a little vague right now. So, as we learn more, we will of course share them. And I think one of the reasons why we wanted to share the executive order is just, there's so much happening so quickly at the federal level. And I think a lot of us are concerned, especially about some of this rhetoric coming out about history and how we talk about it. And we touched on this a little bit at our last commission meeting, just the importance of telling the full history. And that's something that we are unwavering in. And so I know everybody is aware of the chaos happening, and especially with our friends at the Smithsonian and at our libraries and things. And so we're keeping an eye on everything and trying to figure out how to navigate this. So Julia, if you wanted to add anything else.
I think it's just mostly to keep everyone up to date, which is almost impossible now, but and to recognize that the language in the Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History will polarize the issue more, right? And that we may be in conversations and engagements and encounters where on both sides of that polarization, expectations are being forwarded or expressed to us of what we should be doing, or are we connected? And so just being aware of what's being said so that we can speak best we can about what we're doing versus what's happening on the national level. But because there's still a 250th commission or 250th that was congressionally appointed, and then the task force. So I think just being aware so that when members of the public or members of the public history community or the humanities community, whatever, are engaging with us, we can be at least somewhat coherent about, yes, we know that's happening, that's not us, we're this. So I think that's going to be kind of part of the process of keeping this main focused in the spirit of the state that we love and are part of, as opposed to what might, additional polarization that may be happening at the federal level that might not be too productive.
Any comments or questions about this? Richard, did you want to speak? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, not about this. I just had to go register a boat and it got complicated on me. So I wanted to speak about the previous topic, if I could, before we moved into public comment. Is that
Oh, sure.
okay?
Yeah, please do.
So the new website looks very good. I appreciate it. But you can't get to it. And so when you use like the link on the Facebook page, it takes you to a dead end. And I know that at least the Secretary of State's main page is all a cluster. They've been changing a bunch of stuff. Like my election site isn't where it used to be, and where they told me to go, it's not. And anyway, But my bigger concern is we had a very lengthy discussion over maybe 2 or 3 months about America 250. And we're using the extension on our Facebook and our primary webpage of America 250 ME. And I question if obviously that's where we want to be in terms of marketing, outreach, and understanding, but if that is prudent and appropriate, where we're trying to distance ourselves from that.
So I think that the challenge with semi-quincentennial is we just thought that nobody would be able to spell it. I feel like I spell check that every single day that I engage in the semi-quincentennial. People are often forgetting an I or an E or so I think we decided it was a risk worth taking for this specific thing for Mainers. You know, it is different enough, you know, we're not saying we're the Maine America 250 Commission, which I think would draw the ire of the America 250 nonprofit. But I think we're, you know, we're, especially with the ME on it, we're comfortable with the level of risk that they would take some sort of action against us. We're hoping, you know, that it's good enough. But thank you for flagging that. With the broken links, yes, we certainly, just given the size of the website and the centralization of the project in the hands of someone who, you know, doesn't have a connection to any of our programs, she's a webmaster. We are working really fast to fix all of those broken links, and there are broken links in archives, BMV, elections, and the semi-quincentennial. So I think it's just one of those things that when happens when you have quite such a massive data migration. And we had to do it the way they did it. It happened overnight. So hopefully by next week, all of those will be fixed.
The elections
and-
temp site is up.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
The temp site for the clerks, that is actually one of the more important ones.
Thank you.
Great.
I'll just add to that, Shanna, too, just about the America 250 ME. Thanks for bringing that up, Richard, because that is not a copyright infringement apparently, which is good. And actually, most other states, this is how they are. This is what they're using for their URLs or their names on social media, because it's as short as we can all make it is America 250, and then, you know, whatever your the abbreviation is for your state. So we've come to the lead from a lot of the other states who have already have more robust websites and social media platforms to in naming that. So it's a short, yeah, like Shanna said, like if we had people have to type out like Maine Semi-Quincentennial Commission to find us, that would, hopefully this is easier.
Any other comments on the executive order? I think Julia and Sarah did a nice job of reminding us that we're not affiliated with the federal, and we made a decision as a commission during the Biden administration not to affiliate with the federal America 250 Commission because of the requirements that they were placing on us. So it's not, we're being equal opportunity of just going our own way in this area for now. And so. Great. So I think that moves us into public comment, unless Sarah, there's something that you wanted to make sure that we had for folks.
Yeah,
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, we'll follow up. And thanks for the notes. If you find more broken links, let us know. We'll get those taken care of as quickly as possible. And just a reminder again, if you or someone you know is doing an event for Two Lives for Tomorrow, let me know. I will make sure that we are amplifying that on our social media pages. And I will also send that to our friends of Virginia so that we are on the big national map too, which is pretty cool. There's stuff happening across every state, and it's pretty awesome to see. So thanks, Shanna.
All right, so public comment, and I think the best way to do this is if you can raise your hand or put something in the chat that you'd like to speak. We'll start there, and Sarah or I will recognize you. Sarah will watch the chat. I can watch the hands raised. So would any of our guests like to offer any announcements or any questions or any public comment? Yes, Penelope.
Hi there. I just wanted to, and this is strictly a plug. Spirits Alive in Portland is teaming up with Maine Historical Society. We're going to have a Two Lights event on the 18th, which will be a community reading of the Longfellow poem in the cemetery. And this is kind of a spoiler, but if it works, we are trying to coordinate so that when we get to the lines in the poem where he's looking up to the belfry, someone in the observatory just up the hill will put one lantern and then the second lantern up at the exact moment that it's being read in the poem. So if you're looking for something to do on the 18th at 7 o'clock in Portland, come on out. Thanks.
I think that sounds awesome. By the way, this is a great venue for plugs and we want to be plugging your event. So Penelope, please, I think Sarah already has a lot of your information, but if there's anything specific that you want placed in the press release, you know, we want to use the power of the Secretary of State's press list and ability to amplify other people's events to lift you up. So that's awesome.
That's
And
great. Thank you.
I'm not going to skip the Augusta event for the Portland event, but the Portland event sounds pretty good.
Thanks a lot.
Well, I'll be there for the commission because I have to read the first stanza. So there you
Sweet.
go.
Great, so the commission will be represented in Portland, that's excellent. Any other announcements or comments or questions? Daniel, I think you're unmuted.
Yes, yeah, I'm trying to raise my hand, but it doesn't work.
Go for it.
And mine doesn't work for some reason. But I wanted to talk further with regards to the disassociation with the 250 America and exactly what it is that you're saying with regards to that. I've read most of the minutes and I didn't see anything with regard to the topic in the minutes, but I may have missed it, I suppose. But it just seems counterintuitive that we're, as the United States, we're not organized on celebrating the 250 because of some legal language between the states and the federal government. We can't get along to do this together. As far as adding the ME on it, I see West Virginia does the same thing, and they have events scheduled through next year already, and they have a history of a year going back of events that they've done in preparation for this. So, but my question in particular is with regards to the America's 250 and the question, what does America mean to you? And if you go to that America's Field contest and try to enter, the language that comes out of it is just extraordinary. I gave up scrolling down the pages of the legal questions that are asked for someone to qualify. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you're disassociating yourself with them. But the question needs to be asked and needs to be answered. I should think, especially
Sure.
as divisive as we are,
Yes.
internationally and nationally.
Absolutely. So, and two things. One, we do want to just direct everyone to our prior meeting minutes. So if you want to read the history of the commission deliberations over multiple
I've
meetings.
read them.
Oh,
I've read them
good.
already.
Okay, great. So you are aware that we have had a few conversations starting very early, and
But,
two.
I didn't see it in what I read back through
Yeah. So certainly
June
Sarah.
and July of last year.
Sure. Sarah can certainly grab those for you perhaps and send those to you to show you the relevant passages, but I will try to do my best to encapsulate prior conversations. And I think you're spot on when you said you gave up after reading through the legal language. The legal requirements for joining formally with America 250 plus I believe there were fees attached with the states, and they have trademarked the name America 250. And so they needed some approval processes for utilization of that. And so the legislature created the Maine Semi-Quincentennial Commission because the legislature feels very strongly that we join with all other states and the federal government in commemorating and honoring our 250th anniversary. We feel very strongly about that. And there are opportunities where there is common cause, and we have been joining with the America 250. So for example, there was a delightful contest that they did for students to define, and I think that the prompt was what America means to me. And we did have a student from Maine win. And so we did promote that opportunity for students a year ago. And we did promote the winner of that because we were proud of that student's participation. And so there are going to be moments where we might see common cause. So for example, even Two Lights, right? This is a national initiative started by Virginia, not the National Commission. I feel with all due respect to those folks working really hard at the national level, I think they've been a little bit behind the states. And maybe that's part of our wonderful Constitution and federalism, right? That the states are the real leaders. So Two Lights came out of Virginia, and we were eager to hop on board with a unified national event that's happening all over the nation. And so I think we will populate our website now that we have our website, which just went live Monday night. So Sarah's big goal when she gets back from her vacation is to start populating our website with all of the activities that we know folks are working on. And she has had many conversations over the last year with Daughters of the American Revolution, with the Benedict Arnold House, with different folks, with the Wilson Museum, different folks that have some really exciting activities planned. And our goal as the commission is to be a clearinghouse for all of those activities all across our state, because we know that Maine punches above our weight when it comes to historical, honoring preservation and honoring our history. So I don't want to suggest that we are not going to join in if there are meaningful and positive events. Sarah is going to bring to the commission, I think next month, some ideas that have surfaced in other states, and we're still wrapping our head around what they might look like around July 4th, and some concepts that are coming out from across the country of activities we can do around that date. And certainly, like when I read the president's executive order and I'm like, great, more money for refurbishing and finally fixing up Independence Hall, that sounds wonderful. I completely agree with President Trump on the need to make sure that Independence Hall is completely refurbished. When I read the other aspects of the executive order that malign the Smithsonian and accuse the Smithsonian of engaging in reverse discrimination, I'm like, I don't agree with that. So I think we just need to know that the states are not bound by either the slowness of the America 250 work that might happen at different times, or if there's certain aspects of what's happening at the federal level that does seem politicized rather than unifying, we can let go of that because we have not formally adhered ourselves to that train. And in fact, our mission as the Semi-Quincentennial Commission is laid out by the legislature and the state legislative mandate for these commission members. So that may not satisfy everyone, but I wanted to give you as robust an answer as I could. And certainly Sarah, when she gets back, she can help identify the portions of the minutes to direct you to. And we've chosen to do minutes that are usually summary in nature rather than Shanabella said this, Sarah said this, Julia said this, but that is another reason why we record the video. So if you see those portions of the minutes and you're like, oh, I want to hear a more robust discussion, then that will help you identify where in the video you could go back and listen to that. So thank you.
Okay,
Any
thank
other
you.
public? Oh, good, great. Any other public comments or questions?
This is Frank Rodriguez with the Machias Historical Society, and I want to thank you for the plug on the Margaretta Day Festival. I think Jim can really speak to that. They're in the final planning for the 250th anniversary is coming up, but we would certainly love to invite the British consulate, and he seems to have a sense of humor, and we can talk him through how that battle went down. The other thing I wanted to mention was that we do have activities planned in Machiasport, and I'll send you something, Sarah, that kind of outlines what those activities are. Mostly just putting the lighting ceremony in the various historical buildings. But I'll give you something on that. And finally, we're actually updating our website. So once that's done, I would like to link it to the state site so that we can have capability to come into your website and refer it and things of that nature.
We would love to do that. And
Yeah.
I know members of the commission would love to attend these events around the state. So, if there are opportunities for commission members to participate, I would love to go anywhere and everywhere. But well, Libby's already reading a poem in Portland. So if there are opportunities or you want representation from the commission, I'm sure we can find a commission member who would like to attend. And we can certainly connect you to the British Consulate for that event. I think that would be a delightful opportunity. And I think you would enjoy it and you would as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I'll certainly take you up on inviting commission members to our local activities. We've got quite a few coming up.
Great.
Thank you.
Jim, do you want to follow up?
Yeah, hi, James Jackson. I was interested in the Maine Atlas project. And one of the reasons I want to point out is we have one of the Revere bells at the Congregational Church. It's also the Battle of the Margaretta, the first naval engagement of the Revolutionary War. And that is admitted by the U.S. Navy. In fact, the USS Augusta was christened in the area, and they invited us, the reenactors, to be part of it because we actually have several members who are fifth grade grandsons and granddaughters of the members who took part in the battle. We also have the Burnham Tavern, and we have the Hannah and Rebecca Weston, the story of two gals that walked from Jonesboro to Machias carrying loads of ammunition and different things for the battle. And I think that's we really push that because it has to do with young ladies. It also has to do with the youth to show that they were in fact involved in all that. So that's why Maine Atlas, I think, is a very important thing for us. And as Frank was saying, the Margaretta Days will be the 20th and 21st of June. Starting on Friday, we're having what we call the Liberty Ball and a Machias or skirmish between the rebels and redcoats, and that usually is real popular. And then during the day, we're hoping to hear something final from the Army's Fife and Drum Corps, because they said we were on their calendar and we want to get the final word, but we will then have them in attendance, and just going to be a lot of fun, vendors and crafts fair and things like that. So it's going to be at West Branch Farms if you want to look them up. So it's a new venue this year, but that's what we're going to be doing, and it's pretty exciting. The other thing is the Battle of Margaretta was 2 months after Lexington and Concord and 2 weeks before Bunker Hill. So we kind of just wedged ourselves right in there. Thank you.
And can you repeat those dates, or you'll send them to Sarah and then she'll get them to all of us? Great.
20th and the 21st of June.
Yeah. Okay. And I threw the and I'll share this in the follow-up too, but the links for Margaretta Days and the new location at West Branch Farms too. And my plan right now is I hopefully will be there too on the 20th. Really excited. I haven't been before, so
Great, looking forward to it.
yeah. Thanks, Jim.
Great. And I saw Julie Dunlap.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I'm with the Maine Ulster Scots Project. Our primary objective, or mission rather, is to share and collect stories of those Ulster Scot immigrants from the Ulster Plantation in the north of Ireland who made their way to coastal Maine, the District of Maine, known at the time, and landed in Merrymeeting and Casco Bays. And they set their homesteads, cleared the land, purchased it, cleared it, and built civic communities and so on. You can check out our website at MaineUlsterScots.com. especially the Patriots Corner page that we have there. And this is where we need a commissioner, and I'll be in touch with Sarah as to up and coming things. But what we've done in our committee is identified those skirmishes, battles, campaigns, and expeditions rather, that occurred in the District of Maine between 1775 and 1779, ending in the Penobscot expedition. And we've also identified through Family Digests, plucked out 300 some Ulster Scott immigrants, first, second, and third generation, who were enlisted and mustered out of Port Yarmouth, etc., to fight in the American forces. One being Thomas Means in the ancient North Yarmouth area, who fought for the duration of the American Revolutionary War. So on Saturday, April 26th, from 11:30 to 3 p.m., in North Yarmouth, we will have a lecture that will be presented by John Mann. His focus will be on Scotch-Irish rebellion in that region, formerly the Penobscot history, or Penobscot territory, rather. And following that will be a reception and a social hour at the old townhouse. And on display, we have relics. We have the Merriman drum that was captured at Bunker Hill, and we'll have that on display, a tri-corner hat, a gunpowder keg, David Mitchell's desk. He was the town clerk between 1763 and 1789, his desk on display. And then those surnames that have been identified of Ulster Scott immigrants who were enlisted shortly after the battles of Lexington and Concord. It's free to the public. If you wish to attend, you can reach out to me at julie@maineulsterscots.com, and I'll get you registered. And we'd love to have a commissioner attend. That would be outstanding.
We will work on making that happen.
Thank you. Representative Ann Graham will be in attendance. She's already signed up. Thank you.
Excellent. Any other public comments? This has been really exciting. Or announcements? Alright.
Jamie's got her
Jamie.
hand raised.
Thanks, Jamie.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to remind everyone, or for those who are new on the call, that the Maine Historical Society is undertaking a digitization project to get Revolutionary War manuscript material online, free and on the web. And we have funding from a private donor, Lee Webb, one of our trustees, to invite historical societies, other repositories who have these collections that have not been digitized, and that we will be able to either digitize those or sponsor digitization. We've already put several things online. A shout out to Osher Map Library for digitizing the Benedict Arnold Journal that's at MHS, and we're working with Castine Historical Society and Androscoggin Historical Society and some private collections. So if anyone has materials in their collections, we still have some money to spend. So please reach out, and we'd be happy to connect with you to get those materials online.
Great. I think that's it. Those are all the hands I see. Anyone else? Before I give back people 15 minutes of time? Or not? All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I really do, it's not too late to, oh, sorry. Yeah, is there somebody? No. Okay. It's not too late to find ways to participate in Two Lights. Connect with Sarah if you are planning an event and you want, these events that have already been announced, we'll get those up on our website, get links to those up on our website to help cross-pollinate and promote what you're doing. And if you do decide to do something for Two Lights, something large or small, I think what's cool about this is people can do it in their homes, they can do it in small towns, they can do it really anywhere. Let us know, and we'll include that in the press outreach we do around that event. And please join us. So, we're doing a press conference at 11:30. That's a good time for the news media. The media is definitely There are fewer of them, so at 7:30 or at 7 o'clock, even though what we'll be doing all across the state might be cooler, there might be fewer people to cover that. So we wanted to do a press conference and explain the work of the commission, explain what the semi-quincentennial is, that it is in fact America's 250th birthday, and really just kick off, the beginning of lots and lots of exciting events over the next many months. So thank you, everyone. And we'll see you at our next meeting, we hope.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenna. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you.